This is my 2002 Chevrolet Corvette, and these are my favorite interior mods that I've made to it. This car is now 20 years old, and the interior was absolutely showing its age. I think it looked old when it was new, but it looks really old now, so I've done a few things to fix it. Let's talk about them. First, let's talk about my seats. You can see them from a mile away. These are my red Sparco Sprints. I bought these about a year ago in black, and then they came back in stock in red, and I had to have them in red, so I ordered a second pair. These are extremely comfortable. The factory seats, if you're familiar with C5 Corvettes, are not terrible. They're actually quite comfortable, but these hold you so much better than the stock seats. Obviously, you bought a Corvette because you want to drive, quickly, and it's a performance car. The factory seats they just don't hold you very well. So I went ahead and bought these FIA-rated fixed back racing seats from Sparco. I love them. There are a lot of different seats to choose from. I just went with Sparco again for the safety rating, the credibility, the reputation that they have, and they're really comfortable, and this red color looks really cool in the car. Obviously, the rest of it being white, black, and red, I really like that a lot. One thing to note though, however, if you decide to replace the seats, are that you're gonna have to buy brackets. I went ahead and bought these Sparco brackets that are designed for the seat and the seat bases that go in the bottom of the car that bolt down. You're gonna lose your electric functionality if you go with something like this. I'm sure there's a few aftermarket seats that you can bolt on the underside. So these are what are called side mount seats, which are what these brackets bolt to the side of the seat as opposed to underneath like the factory seats. So you cannot use these with the factory electric sliders. But that really wasn't an issue to me because since I'm really the only person that drives it, I just have the manual slider. I set it where I want it and I just never move the seat, so that's okay. But if you commit to something like this, you're just gonna have to get used to the fact that this one doesn't recline. It's a really great seating position. It's really comfortable to drive. And so I've been really happy with it. And I think they're a big upgrade over the stock seats. The next item on my list of best interior mods has to go to the steering wheel. This was, other than the seats, this was my favorite thing that I did to the interior of this car that makes driving so much more enjoyable. I don't know if GM used a dumpster like trash can lid as the basis for their steering wheel diameter size on the stock car, but the stock steering wheel is humongous. It's like a giant school bus dump truck thing. It's huge, and I think it's designed so that it will cover and clear all the gauges at once, but it really makes it not comfortable to drive fast. It just feels like you're just wrenching on a huge steering wheel. So I put this Sparco L360 on a quick release. There we go. So that it's easier to get in and out of these seats that I put in the car too. But yeah, this has made a huge difference in driving. I like this a whole lot more. The only downside to this is that you lose the airbag. Since I really only drive this car on track and I have a Hans device with the harnesses, that wasn't really so much of a big deal. But if this is a car that you're driving on the street a whole lot, that's something you're gonna have to consider and take into account that you're getting rid of the stock airbag. It was okay with me in my situation for how I use the car and the other safety equipment that I put into it, but for you, you're gonna have to weigh those options yourself. Another modification that has made this car hugely more enjoyable to drive has been this head unit here. The factory radio works, as in like it plays sound through the speakers, but it's really dated and it makes this car feel really old. I went ahead and bought one of these Pioneer necks. I think this is the 2660 model. It may be outdated now. I bought it a year or so ago, but this is one of the capacitive touchscreen doubled-in radio units that has Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Bluetooth, all those standard stuff that you get on most cars. Most modern cars today is something really nice to have in a car that's 20 years old. The factory unit looks as bad. I mean, the controls are basically the same as this AC unit. You can tell how, it's old. It's definitely starting to show its age, but just putting in the head unit has really made this car feel a lot more modern than it is, and it's really handy to have Apple CarPlay. I have an iPhone, obviously, so having Apple CarPlay makes a big difference when driving for using navigation and playing music through Spotify and things like that. So this has been something that I absolutely would do. If you have a C5 Corvette and you have the factory radio, definitely consider getting something. I'll put a link to this in the description below for something like it, but you want to make sure you get a capacitive touchscreen one because this one, it makes it feel just like your phone does. There's no lag. It's got a really nice, the touch sensitivity is really good and it just works really, really well. Now this next modification is one that I use in kind of a unique way. You don't have to use it the same way that I did, but we're gonna talk about it anyways, which is sort of a backup camera. And what I mean by backup camera is this mirror here. So right now it is actually just like a glass mirror. You can see the seat in the reflection. There's actually a camera right here mounted that I mounted underneath the hatch glass that normally you would mount at the edge of the car on the back side, like where the license plate is or something like that. And this allows you to see out the back using this digital mirror. So you can see the garage door behind me. So this is something that you would normally mount to your factory mirror. It kind of straps over the top of it. But I removed mine altogether just for visibility, and I mounted this one to the dash. And I run it all the time in backup camera mode so that it's kind of like a digital rear view mirror camera thing. The visibility is actually not that bad in a C5 Corvette, but for me, being able to see out the back just looks really cool. And also the field of view is wide enough to where if somebody's coming up next to you, you can see them in this mirror, and as soon as you can't see them anymore, they're basically right beside you. So you really eliminate a lot of your blind spots. And in a car like this that's pretty small, you want to make sure that you're aware of your surroundings and driving and being safer and stuff. So this has been really cool. And it's just kind of neat to have it mounted up on the dash. People always ask what it is. It's been kind of a cool thing to have, and I just think it looks really cool. And it's something I would do again, absolutely, if I started over on a new C5. Now, I will admit that the last thing I wanted to talk about as far as interior mods go on the C5 Corvette were cup holders. The one that comes on the factory plastic console is awful. I mean, it's not deep enough to put anything. It's more like a change compartment more than a actual cup holder. This is really terrible. There's a lot of companies that make cup holders that actually mount to the side here and puts like two normal size cup holders in front of the seat, passenger seat. But since I don't have that in here right now, I'm not going to talk about it, but I am going to talk about this, which is a cool phone holder. It's a really simple thing. It's cheap. You can find a lot of them on Amazon, but it's something that mounts your phone to the side here, and it's really nice to have. Again, like I said, if it's plugged in using Apple CarPlay or something like that, it's nice just to have something sitting right here so that, you know, if you have anything come up or something, it just is really easy to glance over and touch. You shouldn't be playing with your phone while you're driving, but it's nice just that it holds it there because there's really nowhere else to put it. There was a center console here, but I took the lid off it because it was deteriorating. But you can put your phone in here, but a lot of times these compartments get really hot because of the transmission and driveline and everything. So I usually don't put my phone in there, and obviously it's not going to fit in the cup holder like most cars. So it's nice that you can have like a little, there's a good spot that you can mount this little mount to, which I'll put in the description as well. But it's nice that you can fit a lot of phone sizes, and it holds it in there pretty well. You can just take it off. Now, I know that wasn't a lot of different things in the interior, but you gotta admit, on the C5, there's really not a whole lot you can do to it anyways. There's not really a whole lot in the interior. Plus, when you're driving it, you just wanna focus on driving. So there's not a whole lot of wacky gadgets you really wanna be putting in the car. So let me know in the comments below what you guys would do to your interior of your C5. If you're new to the channel, definitely consider subscribing. And if you like the video, like it, and I will see you next time.